tuned in to the 2-Minute Warning, a live stream community conversation pertaining to social and political issues and how we can collectively resolve them. Powered by the Westside Gazette.
Hello, and welcome to the 2-Minute Warning. The 2-Minute Warning is brought to you by the Westside Gazette newspaper, Broward County's oldest African-American family-owned newspaper. I am your host, Perry Busby, and joining me this evening is the publisher of the Westside Gazette, Mr. Bobby Henry, and our good, faithful brother, Mr. David Wright. How are you brothers doing this evening?
Absolutely wonderful. Terrific and getting better. We ready.
That's great.
We ready.
We ready. Truly outstanding, and can't wait to get this show on the road.
That's great. Well, brothers,
how are you doing, my brother?
I'm great, man. I know I was absent last week from the show, but I wasn't absent from the conversation. And I just really want to say before we get underway that last week's show was really a dynamic show, and I encourage our audience, if you didn't have a chance, please go back and catch us on demand on YouTube or Facebook. And while you're there, please remember to hit the subscribe button. But man, this mental health awareness month has really been a time of great conversation, a time of really learning about an issue that is really impacting all of us in some way, either directly or indirectly.
Absolutely, man. It's if it has not knocked at your door, it soon will be visiting your neighborhood.
That's right.
Up front and personal.
Oh yeah.
And this show, we've taken the time to really want to reach out now to those that want information, that want help. You know, there are a lot of people crying out in many different ways, and hopefully this show will bear some insight on some things that we can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
As an individual.
Absolutely. Yeah, but before we get there, man, seems we have a lot going on in Florida and across the nation. I mean, do we want to start with Tallahassee, FAMU, or where do we want to go in Florida?
Oh man.
Let's start with the weather in Tallahassee first, man. You know, they get hit with tornadoes and all kind of rain. Let's keep it simple there, because it's a lot of stuff going on in Tallahassee.
So, you have several ways to clean up situations.
Right.
It just so happened that the storm came to try to make some things happen.
Right.
So here we are. What do you know about it, Peter?
Well, the company behind that, the Betterton Foundation, is a Texas-based company, and from what I've heard, this isn't the gentleman's first time making such grandiose offers that tend to not pan out. But you know, we sort of talk about it tongue in cheek, but I understand the president's response to in a time with DEI and so many things going on with our campuses, to really get a substantial gift of that. I imagine it was hard to hold, but man, you hate to hear something like that happen, and especially by our own doing.
Man, it's difficult when you find yourself in situations where you need a helping hand, but that hand that you're reaching for just seemed to be a false mirage. You know, so, but as you said, it wasn't his first time. It wasn't his first rodeo. So,
and we do know, I think, what was it yesterday? The vice president stepped down as a result of that. I think that was the latest news, and hopefully that will be the end. It's unfortunate that people have to lose positions and everything, but somebody had to be a wrist slap somewhere. I understand.
But she's now that dean of the School of Business Miss Shroud. She's really a nice lady.
Yeah.
I think she stepped out to try to help.
Right.
Unfortunately, again, being caught up in that whole wave of stuff, somebody has to. But
Yeah.
it should have been. Well, let me stop. It starts from the top,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
the head.
It's, right.
You
They
know,
say what
so
they say. Fish stinks from the head down. Right.
come on, man. You know, so but all right, let's try something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that cuts real deep to the
Yeah.
core.
Yeah.
And
Uh, but speaking of education and
mhm.
moving a little further west, going to one of my uh, hometowns, Houston, is going through quite a bit of turmoil itself in the education space. The Houston ISD school board uh, was taken over by the state. And if you know Texas history and the politics of Texas, Houston is in Harris County. Much like Broward, Harris County is the largest Democratic county in the state, and so this has been one of uh, the latest of a long-going, years-long fight, and that is why I'm always uh, sort of biting my tongue when I hear about us talking about Broward, because believe me, when you think that it can't get any worse, it can. And so the superintendent that the governor uh, placed, well, let me say the governor placed someone to supervise the district. That person in turn handpicked a superintendent that was the former um, school superintendent in Dallas, and he is very much a charter school proponent. So much so that he has his own charter school that's located in Colorado and I think Oklahoma and a few in Texas. And the latest news out of that is that one of his charter schools was underperforming to the extent that the Texas schools was having to supplement the income of a charter school in Colorado. And now you have this guy overlooking really the largest school district in Texas, and I think HISD is maybe the seventh largest school district in the nation. And this guy has gone through. He's laid off over 300 principals.
Hmm.
Uh, Teachers are retiring, and so you see the makeup of it creating a chaos such that this talk for and this entry for charter schools to get a strong foothold is now taking effect.
That charter schools are causing a lot of unnecessary things to happen or bringing light on situations. Here in Broward County, there was a situation with charter school money being used somewhere else, and now because of that, we now have another school superintendent. So it's nothing new, and we're the sixth largest school district in the nation. So, but we are experiencing what this is our third superintendent. Yeah, yeah, about 4 years. Yeah, less than 4 years. So I don't want us to uh, begin to look at our school districts as partisans, political entities. It's just some mismanaging and people who want kickbacks and other things that are uh, eyesores to what the general public education should be. You bring in these other entities, charter schools, other things, and you begin to follow the P, and you come up short. Somebody has to pay the piper. So here we are.
Yeah,
Well,
and
my
unfortunately,
opinion on
it's the children that pays the big cost.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, my opinion on this though, it's our education is just under attack. I think that there are powers to be that want to really control it, want to manipulate it, and we have to stay mindful and persevere in how should we be educating especially our own. Should we be creating our own charter schools or our Marble College schools or whatever schools we need to do to make sure our children are getting the excellent type of education they should? We've relied on public school system, most of us being products of public school system. But as time changes, as technology changes, is that really going to serve the masses?
You know, I want to interject something there, then we're going to go into our show. I want to say this, David, and I want to speak. Today, I had the opportunity, along with a high school student, to sit down and interview our current school superintendent. The purpose of me asking the student to come along was so that this superintendent can look into the eyes of this student of who he is supposed to be in charge of charting the course for her education, public education, not charter, but public education. And if we should lose our public education, we are doomed to failure. Martha Collins was just that was a pristine example of what could be done. But our public school system is designed for public education. And if we should lose that, we're in trouble. So, all right, let's not beat up on this system.
Well, we do have our sports analysts on tonight.
Who happens to be a high school public education coach and teacher. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, so without any further ado, we always like to find out what's going on in the sports world. Can we bring on Mr. Sylvester Noonan Robinson, our sports editor?
Hello. How's everybody?
Coach.
All righty, let's get into it. Listening to your conversation brought back a lot of memories. I will say one thing about that. Public education has been the great equalizer for our people, and we need to hold on to that and not let it get destroyed. I wrote an article in the West Side Gazette this week about, in my Knots section, Noonie on the Sideline, and I talked about the draft lottery, the NBA draft lottery, and how I thought it had become unfair because it's supposed to work for the teams that are weaker and have the worst records. But when you put a bunch of teams in that position where they could also get the number one draft pick, I think it defeats the purpose. The Detroit Pistons had the worst record in the league, but they ended up being able to draft fifth. And so I just think that's something they need to look at. It's changed, it's run its course, I believe, because I thought it was first about money, but you know what it was really about? They were trying to punish teams who were throwing games to get a better position to get the number one draft pick. Mm-hmm. What they should do is simply punish those teams if they catch them in the draft itself by reducing or taking away draft picks. But I think they should do it the way the NFL does it. The team with the worst record gets the number one pick unless there's some kind of trade. Okay, and that was just something that I thought about, and I think that's something they ought to go to. Because if you look at the teams, the top 10 teams that in line to have the top picks, 7 of those teams have never won a championship and have always had losing records. And Michael Jordan, for example, the Charlotte Hornets, never turned that team around for whatever reason. But if you look at the Lakers and other teams in big markets, those are the teams that the NBA seems to favor. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. Quickly, in basketball in the Western Conference, it appears that the home court advantage has not held sway. The Minnesota Timberwolves won the first 2 games on Denver's court. Denver returned the favor and just recently won the last game. So they have a 3-2 lead now, and they can close out in Denver and end up going back to the Western Conference Finals. The only series that has held sway is the series between the Pacers and the Knicks, where each team has won at home. Even with the Knicks injuries, they just annihilated the Pacers at home. So they have to play the Pacers in Indiana. If the Pacers win, they go back to New York, where I expect New York to win the game and end up playing the Celtics, who closed out the Cavs for the Eastern Conference championship. So that's what's happening in basketball. I want you to keep your eyes on a young man named Jamarian Stubbs from Alabama State University, who, along with 6 to 8 other athletes from HBCUs, has qualified to compete in the NCAA Division I Outdoor Track and Field Championships beginning May 22nd through 25th at the University of Kentucky. He is qualified in the 100, the 200, and the 400 meters in terms of time. So that's his name is Jamarian Stubbs, and he's somebody to look out for. The NCAA Track and Field Events Championships will begin June 5th in Eugene, Oregon at Haywood Field. You know, a lot of the Olympic athletes will come out of that NCAA championship. To move on, FAMU has signed, 4 players from FAMU have signed free agent contracts. Quarterback Jeremy Musa with Tampa Bay, Terrell Jennings, a running back with the New England Patriots, wide receiver Marcus Riley with the New York Jets, and Isaiah Major with the New Orleans Saints. We pray that they have a successful venture there and make somebody's team. Moving on to the hockey arena, the Florida Panthers, somewhat like basketball, the home court hasn't always held sway. They had an opportunity to end the series with the Boston Bruins, but they lost at home in Sunrise. So they've got to return to Boston tomorrow night and try to close it out. If not, they'll have an opportunity to do it at home one more time. Hopefully that's what's going to happen. If that happens, this will be the second year in a row that they will be playing for the Eastern Conference Championship in hockey and then for the Stanley Cup. Let's pray that happens. PGA, quickly, Valhalla, that's the second major championship that's taking place right now. I just wanted to note that Tiger Woods, even though he had maybe 1 or 2 good rounds, ended up shooting 1 over par, and he's really not in a good place right now. Hopefully he'll do better. When you think about 1 over par 72 compared to a leader who has a 9 under par 63. So he's got a long ways to go if he expects to win that major. That guy's name is Xander Schauffele. Everybody's raging about Caitlin Clark and what the impact she's had in the WNBA. You know, that they're even moving to a different arena that holds more people because of the impact that she's had. They also have charter flights now. So I'm not sure that that's all because of her, but that's just the impact in general that she's had in the WNBA. And they're getting as much publicity as the NBA in some respects. The Preakness is this Saturday, and I'm praying that the gentleman, the black trainer, has West Saratoga in the race. I have to research and see if that's going to happen, but look out for that, okay? And that's all I have for y'all tonight, brothers. Y'all have a great show.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
That's a lot, man.
As always, we surely really got something out of that.
Yeah. Hopefully, with that Preakness and then the Kentucky Derby, we can talk a little bit of jockey history as it pertains to black folk.
Amen.
We got some for you.
Amen. So we want to go ahead and move on to this show since it's a power pack show. Again, this is Mental Health Month, and the next topic is reaching out for help. Our first guest is new to the 2-minute warning. Her name is Joanna Avon. Joanna is an emotional intelligence coach and a sought-after speaker. She encourages her clients to lean into the discomfort and become a difference that they want to see personally and professionally. As a result, her passion and drive has helped countless people to make changes, including myself, me being one of them. So without any delay, can we get Miss Joanna Avon on the screen?
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
Listen, I am wonderful. Honestly, I am so glad that every single day I have another opportunity to continue to fulfill the assignment that has been placed on my life. And so I am excited every day I can help make a difference in someone else's world.
All right.
All right. So tell us a little bit about, what you do. Give us like that 30-second elevator speech, 30 seconds.
I love it. I'll take 30 minutes as well. If you want to give me 30 minutes, I'll take that as well. Yeah, so emotions drive. Let me start off by, saying emotions drive 80 to 90% of the decisions that we make in life. I'm not just saying financial decisions, career decisions, every decision. What you decided that you were going to wear today is based off of you feeling some type of way about the clothes that you chose. And so if emotions is driving the clothes that you put on, how much more is emotions driving as it relates to who you are going to marry, how you're going to discipline your kids, how you're going to use your finances in a way that is going to be productive. And so it's about time, because unfortunately, only 34% of the time are we able to recognize and identify what we are feeling in the moment. And so that leaves a disparity of about 40 to 50% of the time we are operating on autopilot. We are making decisions, not truly understanding what is at the root of that decision. And so many times we wake up in life and we wonder, how did we get here? How did we choose the person that we chose? How did we choose the career that we chose? How come our kids aren't, the expectation that we thought it would be? All because we have not been able to embrace our emotions. And because of that, they have been dragging us through life. And so I really challenge people to lean into their emotions, understand what's driving them. And so that way their emotions won't be driving them out to sea with no wrath.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. All right, now it's my honor and privilege to introduce our next guest. You can bring him on the screen while I talk about it. This man is the CEO of the Huge Heart Foundation. Wow. Where Gene Ballard believes in fun and what he does to address his particular population. I'm always moved by men who seems to have a way to use humor and seriousness to get to a point where there's some understanding developed there. So if we could, can you bring on Mr. Gene Ballard, please?
Hey,
what's up, Gene? Stranahan Dragon. Stranahan Dragon. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Gene, you got the same opportunity. You can take 45 minutes to tell us about this. We're going to outdo it.
I get 45 minutes.
You get 45.
Wait, how does this work? Like, I don't understand. I got 30 seconds to get 45 minutes. How does this work?
Hey, look, I'll take it all. Most importantly, so I've been a mental health counselor supervisor for about 3 to 4 years. And what I've realized is with the kids, with the adults, and even the senior population was the one being underserved, like to the next level. And let's be honest, technology left them behind. They can't set up an appointment without running into an iPad, and that right there alone is discouraging. They don't want to go to appointments. So having a voice to advocate for them when they go to their appointments, setting it up, making life a little easier for them, letting them know that they do have a voice, people that care about them, is very important to their mental health. With that being said, we have right now, Florida, it's a crisis going on with the senior population. The homeless population is growing, and most of them are seniors. The rate of women is growing, and most of them are older. So we have a real bad crisis that's going on, and I think it's my duty to kind of bring awareness to it, to the youth and to the city officials, to figure out how we're going to get these people off the streets. And once we get them off the street, let's get them stabilized to where we can have a proper conversation with them and dictate, hey, how to move from this point to this point to getting this person back to living in a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
That's great. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, go ahead. I know you got.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking. When seeking a mental health facility, it's crucial for people to ask some questions. So can you? And we'll start with you first, Joanna. Is there any particular questions that they should start off with so they can feel comfortable in reaching for help or seeking help from a facility, if you will?
Absolutely. I think one of the most challenging aspects of life is that we don't sometimes sit with ourselves long enough to be able to even understand the care that we need. A lot of the times we are so busy with doing everything else. And I think the frightening part is sometimes if we sit down with ourselves long enough, the fear is that we might not like the person that we're looking at. And so one of the things that we really have to do from the beginning is really set time with ourselves and prioritize, are we worth it? Do we value ourselves enough to put in the time and the effort? There are so many resources that are out there that is there to assist all of the different communities. But if you don't feel like you're worth it, if you don't see the value within yourself, then you're not going to take the necessary measures that is needed for you to be able to make that appointment, to be able to connect with Jean, to connect with other resources. So the very thing that you have to do is you have to start by looking at the man or the woman in the mirror, know that you're worth it, and know that you are worth doing the work until you are able to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you add anything to that, Gene?
I think she pretty much touched all the bases on it. I would say everything starts from your childhood.
Yeah.
I have clients now that's been homeless since they were 13 and they're now 80. So what I'm having a problem now, and I didn't even think that would be a problem, is having them sleep in the bed. I have him sleeping outside, and he's been with this particular patient been with me for about 2 years now, 2 to 3 years, and I'm just able to get him sleep in the bed for about 3 days, at least 3 days. So it's a work in progress, but then again, it comes with a lot of patience. A lot of people don't want to take the job and really sit down and actually, dig deep and find a solution to help these senior population. So I'm honored to be in this position. I get a lot of questions. Hey, Gene, why are you not coaching? I mean, I do coach, but why are you not a personal trainer or doing something out of they're surprised that I'm helping the senior population. Let's put them like that.
Hey, Gene, I want to back up for a minute. Now, did I understand? Did I hear you correctly when you said that you have a client that's 80 years old and has been homeless since they were 13?
Yes, 13 years old. So when you actually sit down and talk to these seniors, which I call them our biggest libraries, because I feel like they lived life long enough in a different era than I did, so I could learn a lot from them. So I understand a little bit more where they're coming from, where they're from. And a lot of the time, they just don't have the support system. I mean, let's be honest. The senior population is not valuable anymore to society. You can't get anything out of them. And society runs on what can you do for me? So you can't do anything for me. So, they kind of turn their back on you, close the door on you. But I'm here to kind of shine a light on it. It's a crisis. It's a real bad thing that's happening to our senior population. And I think we need to tackle that before it gets worse.
Yeah.
Brother Perry, you got anything you want to chime in before we really get going here?
Well, I guess, as I say, the person that needs help is really usually the last person that knows they need it. What are just some of the things that, if there is a support system, things that they can do to help, or what are some of the signs they need to begin to look out, or how do they begin to reach out to someone like you, Joanna, or Gina?
Yeah, thank you so much, Perry. So what are some of the signs that where there is like a red flag and there is something that is needed? One of the things that we have to consider is that so many people are suffering from anxiety, are suffering from depression, are suffering from suicidal thoughts. What are some of the different signs? Well, anytime you meet someone and they isolate themselves. Isolation is an indicative sign that there is an opportunity for some type of mental health distress, right? Someone that is not able to eat, not able to sleep, people that are operating in extremes. A lot of the times they're right in front of our face, but most of the time we are so busy in our world that we truly lack the empathy that is truly necessary to be able to tap them on the hand and say, hey, is everything okay? I think that's one of the where has the compassion gone for people? And so what ends up happening is because the compassion is not there for people anywhere more, people begin to suffer in silence. And I think if we just pay more attention to people that are around us, get off of our phones. Most of the time we're talking and we're like, yes, yes, and if we can get off our phones, if we can get off our devices and begin to connect with people. So many young people now, because of screen time, are unable to be able to pick up on social cues from facial expressions, all because of screen time, right? And so now we're in a society where we're not able to pick up on the social cues that is necessary to be able to support each other. And so, what are some of the things that we need to see? We need compassion, we need empathy, and we just got to reach out to each other more than what we've been doing.
Okay, Joanna, you said that. I want to, if we can, and I know this gentleman here personally. I see Lou Kane is making a statement, and he works with a population of students, so he has some insight as well. And the statement he makes is, you have to build trust. How do you build trust? How do you build trust? And Gene, I'll ask you this question: how do you build trust with a 80-year-old senior citizen who has not slept in a bed, or who has been homeless for 13 years, who society has cast out? How do you build trust with that person?
You build trust by giving them, by first listening, bring down your level, bring down your mental compassion to their level, so where you can understand them. Being seen, letting them be seen, be heard, being around their environment consistently. So what I mean by that, for example, once a month on a Saturday, I'm downtown by the bus station, and we picking up trash, cleaning their environment where they usually sleep outside or have their homes. And from there, I can tell you, I built a lot of relationships, a lot of rapport with these people just by going in there in the span of 3 months. So just being consistent, letting them see your face and letting them know, hey, I'm regular. I'm just like you. I was once you. And I understand you have a story that could actually help me. And I have the empathy and sympathy for them because I've been homeless before. So I understand their world. So I guess listening to them is first, and letting them know that they're seen. And then the third is letting them know, hey, I'm here to help you. Yeah. You can't just bring it to them too fast. Yeah. It takes levels. It takes levels to building that rapport with them to where they loosen up a little bit. They leave their book bags around you. Yeah. They leave their belongings in white and they don't feel so tight. And they don't just try to ask you for money. Now it's more of a conversation. Right. We talk about the problem.
Right. Yeah, we have another comment, and our guests, our viewing audience, we really want you to chime in, especially with any questions. But I know we're going to get comments as well. Is that Zanya who's talking about the strategy? There you go. We're going to pull that up on the screen. There's a stigma surrounding mental illness, so topics like this are definitely needed to let others know that they are not alone. And I think that's what you guys are saying. Living in, seeing people, letting them know they're seen and heard, building that trust and building that type of relationship. But Joanna, you go in a little deeper. You after you get there, you're going to take it to the next level. Explain that to us.
Yeah, I mean, because this is the thing. The same region of your brain that processes pain does not discriminate emotional pain and physical pain. I'm going to say that again. The same region of your brain that processes acute pain does not know the difference between emotional pain and physical pain. So what happens is if somebody breaks their arm, right? They go to the emergency room. They get surgery. They have rehab. They even have maybe people come into their house. They're having constant support for their arm, right? But what happens is that when someone has dealt with any type of emotional trauma, whether that is physical, whether that is verbal, whether that is emotional, whether that is sexual, whether it came from divorced parents, whether your parents was incarcerated, any type of adverse childhood experience, if a child experiences those things, where's the Calvary? Where is the team that came? And so what ends up happening, emotional pain has longer lasting residue on the person and the people around them, but there's no Calvary. There is no nursing station. There is no emergency care. And if you think about it, what would happen if you never gave the proper care and rehab to a broken arm, or even less, a broken finger? You will have disease in that finger for the rest of your life. It is the same thing with emotional pain. If it is not something that is taken care of from a root issue, you will bleed on people constantly that never hurt you.
And Gene, you get to see that?
Oh yeah, a lot. And I think, like Joanna said, it starts from when you're young. All the emotional trauma that you're going through, it slowly builds up. It's like cancer. It starts with stage 1. And it goes slowly, goes to stage 3. Before you know it, you're a senior. Now you're at stage 4, and you can't cure it. There's no cure for it. So before you get too deep, I think we need to tackle it as a kid and really pay these kids attention. That's in the more low income neighborhoods, especially in the black population. We ignore it so much because we don't want to be labeled as being crazy,
Right.
labeled as being unnormal. So a lot of us make jokes of them, get picked on. So it kind of make us deter away from telling the truth or finding help. So I think we have more resources to where we have like-minded people like me and Joanna to start from the lower class, from the kids, and educate them that it's okay to come talk to me. I'm just like you. I've been in your shoes before. Relate with them. So, and being a little patient and understanding with them, I think that goes a long way.
And if I could just jump in here real quick, because I also feel like as much as we talk about the children, and we need to get in there from a starting place, I'm putting some pressure on parents.
Right.
Parents, I'm putting some pressure on you because you know better. You know that there are some things that you struggle with, that your child is reflecting you because of you didn't resolve things. And so I'm challenging you as parents, do not allow the generational cycle, the generational pattern of your unresolved emotional traumas onto your children. So I'm going to call you out as well, because in order for our children to be better, the adults have to realize that there is a need, that they need healing as well.
Correct.
Wow. Okay, so you flipped the script. You put the mirror back in our hand, and we have to look at it.
Absolutely.
Gene, I want to ask you a question. Okay, you didn't gloss over the fact you stated that you were homeless at one time.
Yeah.
So do you feel, how do you feel that your situation allows you to relate to those clients or those people that you're helping?
Well, I'm gonna start off with saying everybody deal with some type of mental illness. We all deal with some type of trauma, depression at one point of our lives. The problem is some are just more severe than others. And in my case, I'm very grateful that I didn't go too far to where, I couldn't find my way back out. But when I was homeless and I was in college, during my college life, I was in California at the time. And where I was playing football. I couldn't stay. I found out I couldn't stay in the dorm. So that took a toll on me. So I started, I didn't know who to go to. I didn't know how to tell the coaches. Again, it comes from, not wanting to be picked on. you know, not wanting to be labeled as a you unnormal or you're broke or anything like that. So you become silent and you try to figure it out by yourself. And when you don't try to find resources, it can take a toll on you mentally. So I was at a point where, you know, at times I did think suicidal. I couldn't get back home. They didn't have any money to fly back home. The tickets is crazy. We way in the West Coast. So, you know, I started, you know, sleeping in the cars, friend cars, and things like that until one of my friends stepped up to the plate and told me I could crash in his apartment. So the whole semester I slept on the couch and lived out of my suitcase. But I understood then, you know, it was a feeling that I never wanted to feel because at the time when I was starving, I didn't know where to go to ask for food. At the time when I was screaming for help, I had to go to class. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't even know how to bring up the topic, hey, I'm homeless. You know, so I waited long enough and hope God, you know, I always tell people this, God found me and he pulled me out of that and he was able to let my friend see that I was homeless and give me a place to stay.
Okay, so oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, that's deep, Gene. And again, we thank God. Was there a spiritual component that held you through that time?
Spiritual, I'm gonna be totally honest, I lost all faith. At this point, I was questioning God. And I was asking him, you know, why me? You know, I did no wrong. I never hurt nobody. I respected my elders. I give back. I give anybody anything. The last change that I have, why me? But then, as I've gotten past that that journey of my life, I understood then it's for me to build that empathy for what I'm doing now, because I have to find my soul purpose. So now I understand. Um, every time I wake up at 5 in the morning, I got to fight. I got a war outside that I got to attend to, and that my job is to figure out how to get these seniors off the streets where they're already severely mentally ill.
Yeah.
You can't just walk up to them. The ones that's pink handling on the side of the street, walking butt naked on the sidewalk. These are the people that, you know, in order to make our city great again, beautiful, and when tourists come by, they see something beautiful, truly beautiful, and not things that's hidden. Is
Yeah.
get these things off the streets, get
Yeah.
this homeless population off the street, get them stabilized to where you can have a proper conversation with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, can we go ahead? I was going to ask to put up. Can you guys put in the chat how to get in contact with you? I was.
And while you're doing that, Joanna, you floored us with your last about taking up that mirror, and I definitely agree. And you know, when you say things like that, it's not hard to get an amen and somebody shouting on the front row. But when you talk about that mirror, most people would say, well, you're talking to the parents who are dealing with that, but you're really talking about all of us in the collective community.
Yes. Yes.
What are some of the things that we can, because the first thing someone would say, well, I can't do what Joanna's doing, I can't do what Gene is doing, but there are so many other things. And so from your perspective, what are just some of the small things that are lacking that perhaps people are not even aware of that we can begin to do? You're not asking us to be counselors. You're not asking us to take someone homeless in. But as John said, I mean, there's cleanup on a Saturday. But what are just some of the other things I think that sometimes we overlook that helps in this situation?
Man, I think that we have, unfortunately lost the art of just being there for people. And that comes because of the lack of empathy, true empathy. And just like Gene said, the way in which you connect with people that are different than you is you got to establish trust. You got to establish rapport. And so simply it is just reaching out to people, checking up on people, being there for people, putting your phone down and giving them eye contact, right? I mean, just something as simple as that. And Gene, I love what you're talking about, because it sounds like you had to do the work. You went through some tough stages, and out of the tough stages, there was a testimony. And I have to say that I had to go through the same thing in order for me to be able to write the book that I wrote, Heart Work of the Soul. I had to do the work of the soul first. And so what does that look like? That means that I had to face my abuser.
Right.
That means that I had to forgive. That means that I had to have challenging conversations that people stray away from because it puts them in a vulnerable situation. The thing about emotions is emotions cannot be destroyed. They can only be transferred or converted. And so what ends up happening is most people think when they suppress their emotion that they are keeping it in. But you are oozing on everybody. And the only way that you are able to truly be able to heal is you're going to have some challenging conversations. There are some things that, I in my classrooms all the time, I speak to especially a lot of men that have experienced a lot of bullying in their life, but whether it be cousins, whether it be their brothers. And that bullying really creates this macho, I'm going to get you before you get me. So there is always this wall that is up. And then what do they end up doing? They end up passing it down to their generation, right? There are so many women that have been, just like men, that have been inappropriately touched and things of that nature. So now they grow up with this disdain for men. Now they don't trust anybody, and they blame it on the men, and the men blame it on the women, but you are the common denominator. You're the one that's showing up to all of these relationships. So you got to stop pointing the finger at people and really take responsibility and accountability for how you are showing up in life. And the only way that you are able to convert that energy that has been suppressing you is you've got to begin to do the hard work of the heart. And most people just don't want to do that.
That's a good segue into Xania's question. She asked, I'm sorry, I don't know if it's a he or she, I do apologize. But Xania asked, what coping strategies work for someone that is experiencing a mental illness? And I think you were hitting on the go.
Well, it depends what's the mental illness.
Right.
If it's bipolar or schizo, it all depends what it is. But some of the coping is, a lot of the times just taking a walk with somebody while talking. That's a great coping mechanism. Or exercising. That's another thing. So exercising or having some alone time and really talking to yourself. Again, like Joanna said, having that accountability, having that conversation with yourself and truthful conversation to get down to the bottom of what's really going on internally. And once you figure that out, then you can start the healing process. It's like being a doctor. I got to do all these MRIs, all these CAT scans in order to find out what's going on inside. And once I dictate that, then I could go ahead and start my operation.
Gene, I love that you said that, because what happens is that depression, if someone worries a lot, right? Because I'm an emotional intelligence, right? Chronic worry turns into what mental disorder, Gene?
Chronic worry turns into schizo. I would say schizo.
Schizo and anxiety, right?
Yeah, anxiety, schizo.
Chronic sadness and loneliness can turn into depression.
Yeah.
If we can be able to manage our emotions at a core level, then we have an opportunity to stop the bleeding before it becomes cancerous. And so a lot of the times we're so used to suppressing our emotions that we don't begin to do some of the preventative measures, which Gene just talked about, having conversations. I mean, and stop with this stigma that I got to be strong, right? That I'm going to thug it out like men don't cry. And, certain cultures, They just don't allow you to be vulnerable because they look at vulnerability as a weakness. And people are literally dying from the inside out because of these unresolved emotions that have been driving your state of mind.
Right.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Gene, there's a comment for you. It's coming from Kenia Gordon. And Miss Gordon, and she says this to you. My brother, you had to be validated and tested to be a blessing in what you are doing right now. So we hope that that's encouragement to you, my brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Joanna, you mentioned something, and especially in reference to your book, Hard Work of the Soul. But on page 20, I found something interesting. You were leading us into this. Many times we blame others for how they treat us, what they do to us, and what they say about us. However, you teach people how to treat you, and if you don't stand up for yourself, you deserve what you accept. Go ahead and finish that one because you had started on that.
It's very important. One of the things that I say all the time is never allow the emotional reaction of someone else to dictate your response. And I'm going to say, never allow the emotional reaction of someone else to dictate your response. Because when you allow that to happen, what happens is now you have put that person in a position of power. Now you have become the puppet. And there are some people out there that they will purposely hold on to the things that they want to be able to share with people because of a possible explosion from another person. So what they do in that moment is they say, you know what? I care more about the comfort level of someone else more than myself.
Mm.
And so as a result of that, people will treat you a certain type of way. And so as a result, you deserve what you've been accepting. Why? Because you teach people how to treat you. And so you got to be able to champion yourself and in love and in kindness be able to communicate. See, a lot of the times we don't even have the emotion vocabulary. A lot of the times we're still stuck in the sad, in the mad, in the maybe even fear. But I will have a different response to someone if they're coming at me and I'm thinking they're angry. If they said to me, no, it's not that I'm angry, it's just that what you said hurt. Well,
Wow.
I'm going to provide a completely different response now, right? It's not, I'm not angry. It's just that what you said was just disappointing. Well, wow. Like now I'm not going to treat you with that same energy. And so that's why it's so important for us to be aware. And that's why actually in my book, I have an emotion vocabulary because a lot of people are just not, you ask someone, how are you doing? They're like, good. Well, good is not an emotion. Fine. Well, fine is not an emotion. Like, and so we just don't have the vocabulary. And because of that, our communication is lacking because people just don't know. Even you go to the doctor and they tell you, what are you experiencing? And why? Because just like Gene said a moment ago, they have to be able to try to diagnose exactly what may be going on, but we're not giving them people enough data emotionally so that way we can have more effective conversations and our communication can be better. So you deserve what you accept if you're not expressing yourself.
Right.
I know that's tough.
With that, in that same vein, when should a person attempt to talk or even having a conversation with somebody that is experiencing some mental illness?
Well, I think they should. I mean, I think the slightest depression, speak with somebody, let it out. Don't hold it in. Don't hold it in till it builds up over time. You know, having somebody to talk to. That's why having a therapist is very important, especially in the Black community. We don't have enough of those. We need therapy. You know, having an outlet system. You know, I think that's when you need to tackle it when it's at its when you feeling it, depressed or stressed. Find somebody to talk to that can give you good pointers and typically that's usually a therapist.
Yeah.
They
I
won't
was,
judge
I was,
you.
I was
They
asking, I
won't
was
judge you,
asking,
and they won't attack you.
I was asking the question from a different perspective. We,
Okay.
as on the out, we may see somebody that's so.
Okay.
So when is the time for us to address that, and how do we address that?
Ask them the question.
Yeah.
How you feeling? And then engaging in the question.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't let you in until they can feel that energy that you're just trying to help. And
Absolutely.
I think when you come towards somebody in a conversation and you engage them in the conversation and they can feel the empathy that you're really there to help. Same with animals. You know, a dog won't bite you if you feel that you're really there to help them.
Yeah.
So I think people have that intuition where they know when somebody's just trying to take advantage of them, and
Yeah.
they know it's not in their right mind right now to talk about it. They get that gut feeling. So if you come at somebody and just ask the question, "Hey, how you doing today?" with a smile and with the high energy of happiness and joy, I think they'll open up a little bit more because that changes their perspective of how they see you.
And I love that, Gene, because one of the things that I want to just kind of piggyback on what you're saying, and Bobby's asking, what is the right time? You know, there is never a perfect time because life is always lifing, right? Life is guaranteed to life. And I think that any time that when you are secure within yourself, you're going to understand that I don't care about the time. As long as what I'm saying is in love, as long as what I'm saying is thoughtful, then it doesn't matter how, I'm not tied to their reaction. I'm doing this for me. Whether they get upset, whether they apologize, whether they don't, doesn't matter. I am doing this for me, and I am going to make the time for me. Right? So, because a lot of the times people say, what's the right time? I was going to call them tomorrow. I was going to call them next week. And then that person passes away. And now they're dealing with guilt and remorse. So you have to value yourself enough to know that you are worth all the time that is needed for you to be free of any type of suppressed emotion concerning someone else. You take that leap anytime and lead in love, and love never fails.
Right.
Now, you definitely gonna get an amen on me from me on that one. But guys, we're getting so much positive feedback. We want to share your information, all right? Because everybody's asking, they're talking about how great the show is and how wonderful this information. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to post numbers. If you guys got websites, and then we're going to show some books and some logos. I think your business, Gene, and your new book, Joanna. So give us a minute. We're going to get that stuff all queued up. But go ahead, and we're going to keep the conversation going. Joanna, go ahead and tell us about that book and why. What made you want to get that out?
Oh boy, this book is so special. So a lot of people, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. Gene was talking about it. A lot of people, specifically in our community, they may say, "I don't have the resources. I don't have the time. I don't have the friends to talk to, right? Because I'm so guarded, so I don't even have people that I can talk to." Well, Heart Work of the Soul is literally therapy in a book. It is your training guide to emotional wellness. And so I literally take the principles of emotional intelligence according to Daniel Goleman, which is the pioneer of emotional intelligence, and I break it down in a very practical and logical way to process your emotions. So there is no longer no excuse. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to live in depression. This book is going to give you a step-by-step guide to get to the root of what has been driving your decision-making in life. The only thing that you have to do is just make that investment into yourself. Not only for yourself, but your future generations is depending on your healthy state of mind. And so it's literally an investment that you make that is cheaper than you going to buy 2 meals at McDonald's.
Very good. Gene, tell us a little bit about the Huge Heart Foundation.
So the Huge Heart Foundation is an organization that helps seniors with severe and persistent mental illness that's suffering from homelessness to find housing. So we do the housing part. We partner with Salvation Army, hospitals all the way from West Palm Beach to Miami to Homestead. We service all South Florida, and we're in all the behavioral health departments, talking and building rapport with the senior population, the social workers as well, bringing awareness that we're available. We will house you. We will connect you with a psychiatrist, a therapist, as well as case managers that can help you, get your ID, your food stamps, whatever resource that you need. So we're just somebody that connected. We just partnered with United Way as well, so that we have a great thing coming up for the veterans, housing for the senior veterans as well. So that we have that coming in the near future. So I'm happy to share that with you guys.
Okay, great.
Well, guys, we're right at the top of the hour, but this has been so engaging, so interactive. Our viewers, they get excited when they get good information and they give good feedback, and then they get to that point where they just want to sit back and listen. So as we begin to wind down the show, we kind of want to get some closing remarks from both of you guys. And I got to tell you, this has been outstanding. This month we knew was going to be challenging, but much needed. We have to address these issues. We can no longer just put them under the cover, hide them, and act like they don't exist. Joanna, if you can just surmise a nugget that you feel our viewers need to hear.
For anyone that is watching, aren't you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Haven't you tried everything that you have tried? You have tried your family, you have tried friends, you have tried substances, you have tried whatever you can to block what you have been experiencing emotionally. I want to tell you that your time starts today. Champion yourself today. Get up. No more acting like a victim. Get up. Dust yourself off. You fall down 7 times, you get up 8 times. But this time, do it differently. Purchase Hard Work of the Soul and begin your journey into living an emotionally healthier life.
Awesome. Gene.
My club, I want to leave everybody with this. If you have a loved one or somebody that's suffering from some type of mental illness, whether it's your grandpa, your father, your mother, and you have no hope and you feel like you're at the end of the road and there's no turning, reach out to the Huge Heart. If we can't help you, we'll find somebody that can help you. We may not be the best in everything that we do, but we're the best at what we do as far as housing and getting them off the streets. So if that's something, a resource that you need, just give us a call, reach out to us. We're pretty fast, we're responding back, and let us try to help you out. And just call. It's just a phone call away.
Great.
Wow.
Oh,
My brother?
yeah, this has been very interesting weeks of conversation. By approaching the subject of mental health treatment with empathy, understanding, and respect, you can create a space for a person to consider seeking the support they need.
Absolutely.
As we draw our community conversation on seeking help for mental illness to a close, I'm deeply moved by the openness, the empathy, and the courage shown by all. Our shared commitment to talking and taking off the mask off mental health issues and promoting a culture of support and understanding is truly inspiring. Our candid conversations have brought attention to the importance of seeking help make talking about it, we hope individuals feel better about prioritizing their well-being. Each voice represented is a demonstration that together we can break down barriers and create pathways to healing and resilience. Remember, seeking help is not a sign of weakness,
Yeah.
but a courageous step towards healing and growth. Let us embrace this journey together, knowing that in our shared vulnerability of in our shared vulnerability lies our greatest strength. Thank you to everyone for your participation, your openness, and your commitment to building a healthier, more supportive community. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to uplift and support one another on our collective journey towards mental wellness. With gratitude and hope, our 2 Minute Warning Show family. God bless you all and thank you.
Respect.